So he made a plan. That night, he would try the same practice again, more carefully, with more awareness. He took a deck of playing cards and shuffled it carefully. Without looking, he picked one card and placed it face up in the kitchen. Then he did the same in each room of the house, leaving a different card there without ever seeing what it was. When he had finished, he returned to his bed with a quiet plan in his heart. He wanted to discover whether, in his dream, he could move through the house and see which cards had been placed in each room. Then he woke up and ran from room to check the cards. But when he saw them, he became sad. The cards were different from the ones he had seen in his dream. He realized that the astral journey was not real. It was only a dream. The next day, the child wanted to test whether he was dreaming or truly awake. He lay down on his bed and waited quietly. After some time, he fell asleep, but he did not realize it. To him, it felt as if he had simply opened his eyes and sat up. He looked around his room. Everything seemed normal. His bed was there. The furniture was in its usual place. The curtains, the toys, the walls, everything looked just as it did in real life. But something felt different. He could not explain it. Nothing looked wrong, yet the room did not feel completely real. Then he remembered to check his hands from the book. Slowly, he raised them in front of his face and looked carefully. At first, they seemed normal. But when he shook them and looked again, the number of fingers began to change. On one hand, there were 3 fingers, then 5, then 7. The same strange change happened on the other hand. The child stared in amazement. Now he knew. "This is a dream," he whispered. He played with the dream, and the dream seemed to play with him in return, changing its angles, shapes, and views around him. Then he began to travel through the house, not through a strange dream world, but through the same house he knew in real life. He looked at the walls, the floor, the doors, and all the little patterns around him. He touched the furniture and wondered, how can my mind create this house so perfectly, just like the real one? He even went to see his mother, father, and grandparents. When he saw them, he was amazed. "Wow," he whispered. "I created them in my dream." Then he went outside and walked through the farm. He saw the tools his grandfather had told him not to touch. In the dream, he carefully touched them and examined them. He went to the places his grandfather had told him not to go, and there he explored everything he had always wanted to see. After a while, he became bored with the farm, so he lifted himself into the air and flew above the house. From the sky, he looked down and saw the whole farm beneath him. Then he flew higher and saw the town. He flew even higher and saw the earth from far away. He felt happy and free, watching the sun, the moon, and the earth floating in space. Then he flew farther, traveling among the stars and planets, full of wonder and joy. Unfortunately, dreams did not last long. Each time he began to explore deeply, the dream ended too soon and he woke up again. But now he was no longer afraid. He had become like a young master of his own dreams, and his desire to explore them grew stronger. The next night, he decided to test something new. What will happen, he wondered, if I do not react at all? So he lay down in his bed and waited quietly for sleep. His body became still, but his awareness remained awake. After some time, he opened his eyes. At first, it felt as if he had simply woken up, but he remembered to check. He raised his hands in front of his face and shook them gently. Then he looked carefully. The number of his fingers began to change. 3, 5, 7, the child smiled softly. "This is a dream," he whispered. Then he became very still. This is the time to check. Instead of traveling through the house or outside, he did something unexpected. He lifted his hand and tore the space in front of him open as if it were a thin curtain. A strange opening appeared before him, like a doorway into another dimension. Nature was perfect there, full of green fields, shining light, and peaceful air. People were everywhere, smiling and happy. Some walked through the land, some rested under the trees, and some were flying freely through the sky. He flew up with them, rising higher and higher into the sky, until the clouds opened around him and he found himself in a paradise of light, beauty, and wonder. He wanted to test what would happen if he stopped reacting completely, not only to the dream characters, but to the dream itself. He stopped reacting to everything. He did not react to the characters. He did not react to the environment. He did not react to the beauty, the fear, the sounds, or the movement. He reacted to nothing at all. He only watched. Then something strange happened. The dream began to collapse as if it were made of glass. The sky, the ground, the people, and the whole world cracked into shining pieces and broke apart around him. He flew through the broken dream, passing beyond it. Then another dream appeared. Again, he did the same thing. He did not react. He did not follow anything. He only watched. That dream also began to break apart, turning into dust and disappearing into space. Then another dream came, and again he remained still inside himself, watching without reaction. He was now flying through a space of nothingness, surrounded only by floating images and fragments of broken dreams. As he passed through them, a voice suddenly called out, "Hello." The child turned and saw someone floating nearby. It looked like him, but not exactly. It was a dream version of himself, made of light, memory, and imagination. The dreamed child smiled and asked, "Are you enjoying it?" "Who are you?" the child asked. The one who looked like him smiled gently. "I am the thought," he replied. The child looked at him with wonder. "The thought?" "Yes," he said. "Come, let us go back down to that place. I have many things to tell you." Then they slowly descended from the silent space of broken dreams, passing through the floating fragments of images and memories until their feet touched the ground again. They landed gently on the ground. Thought smiled and offered his hand in greeting. "As I said before, I am thought," he said. "But I am not just any thought, I am your thought." The child looked at him with curiosity. "Your dreams may seem like strange worlds," Thought continued, "but they are not separate from you. Come with me, and let me introduce you to the world of your own dream." "You have just read a book about the nature of dreams," Thought said. "It seems that it helped you very much." The child looked around the strange and beautiful dream world. "What is a dream?" he asked. Thought smiled. "A dream is another part of your thought," he said. "Let me give you a simple example." He lifted his hand, and an image of a great iceberg appeared before them, floating in a silent blue sea. "Look at this iceberg," Thought said. "The top part is visible above the water, but the greater part is hidden underneath. If you dive below the surface, you will see that the hidden part is much larger than the part you can see." The child watched carefully. "Your thought is similar," Thought continued. "When you are awake during the day, you notice only a small part of thought, like the top of the iceberg. You think about food, family, school, toys, words, and the things around you. That is the visible part. Then the water around the iceberg became clear, revealing the enormous hidden body beneath. But when you sleep and enter a dream, you enter the deeper part of thought, the part hidden under the water. This dream world is made from that deeper part. It is much larger, stranger, and more powerful than the thoughts you notice while awake." The child looked at the vast iceberg beneath the sea. "So I can see this part only when I dream?" he asked. "Yes," Thought said. "Just as you can see the bottom of the iceberg only when you dive into the water, you can see this deeper part of thought only when you enter the world of dreams." "You are thought," the child said slowly. "And dreams are also thought. Then the ghosts and monsters that frightened me before, were they thoughts too?" "Yes," Thought answered gently. The child's eyes narrowed. "Then that means you were the one who visited me as those ghosts and monsters," he said, his face becoming angry. "You were the one who scared me." Thought froze. For a moment, he did not know what to say. A guilty look appeared on his face. Then he gave a small, nervous smile. Before the child could say anything more, Thought suddenly turned and ran away, trying to escape. Thought suddenly changed his shape into a horse so he could run faster. Then he galloped along the road, moving farther and farther away. The child tried to chase him, but Thought was too fast. Soon, the distance between them grew so wide that the child could no longer reach him. Then the child thought to himself, "If I am the god of my own dream, then I should be able to do anything I want." At that moment, something awakened inside him. He leaned forward, fixed his eyes on the glowing horse, and began to run. With each step, he became faster and faster, until his body moved like a streak of light across the dream road. The wind rushed around him, the stars blurred beside him, and the distance between him and Thought began to shrink. The horse suddenly changed its shape into a glowing fish. With one powerful leap, it jumped from the road into the sea and disappeared beneath the shining waves. Then it began to swim away quickly, moving through the water faster than the child could follow. The child leaped into the sea. In a single moment, he created a small motor with a propeller on his back, allowing him to speed through the water and chase the glowing fish beneath the waves. When the child was almost close enough to catch the fish, it suddenly leaped out of the sea, transformed into a bird, and flew away from him. In a single moment, the child created a jet-like device on his back and sped into the sky, flying swiftly after the bird. Then the bird suddenly changed its shape into a small alien inside a shining spaceship. The ship rose higher and higher, leaving the sky behind as it flew toward outer space. Then the child changed himself into a powerful flying child, able to soar through the sky with incredible speed. He flew faster and faster until he reached the shining spaceship. With one strong movement, he grabbed onto it and held it firmly. "Do not run away," he said. "I am not here to hurt you, but you cannot escape from me because this is my dream and I am the creator here. So stop running, talk to me, and explain more." Then the alien looked at him and said gently, "It is morning. Wake up, honey." The child paused. That voice did not belong to the alien. A moment later, he opened his eyes and found himself back in his bed. The dream had ended. From outside the room, his mother's voice called again, warm and clear. "Breakfast is ready." The child sat up slowly, still holding the wonder of the dream inside him. That day, the child picked up the next book, titled The Universal Flow. He opened it with excitement and began to read, wondering what new secret it would reveal. After everything he had experienced, the books no longer felt like ordinary books. Each one seemed to be a doorway into a deeper world. As night came, he placed the book beside him and lay down in bed. This time, he was not only waiting for sleep, he was waiting to meet Thought again. He wanted to enter the dream world once more, ask more questions, and discover what the universal flow truly meant. He fell asleep and entered the dream world again. There, Thought was waiting for him. Thought smiled and said, "I noticed that you read another book. You want to understand it more deeply, don't you?" The child nodded. "Yes," Thought continued. "Then I will not explain it only with words, I will show it to you." He raised his hand and the dream around them began to change. "I can give you a three-dimensional explanation," Thought said, "like a living presentation so you can see the meaning with your own eyes." Thought opened his hands. Around them a glowing earth appeared, alive with rivers, trees, animals, food, soil, rain, and people. Threads of light moved through everything. "Everything is made of substances," Thought said. "Water, minerals, fats, proteins, dust, air, and many more. Your body is not a closed box. Food enters you. Breath enters you. Water enters you. Old materials leave you through breath, sweat, waste, and tiny changes. New materials take their place." The child watched a carrot grow from soil, become food, become part of a body, return to soil, feed a plant, feed an animal, and move again. "So my body is a shape made by flowing things?" he asked. "Yes," Thought said. "A temporary shape like a whirlpool in a river. The living earth grew larger around them." The light threads moved through trees, animals, insects, rivers, and human bodies. Nothing held the substances forever. Everything borrowed, used, released, and received. This is why the author says living beings are one, Thought said. Not because someone outside the world orders us to be kind, but because life is already connected. To hurt another being is to hurt the larger body of which you are also a part. The child watched the light move from grass to lamb to soil, from soil to flower, from flower to bee, from bee to fruit, from fruit to child. The same movement wore many faces. Then the view lifted beyond Earth. The planet became one small blue home in space. Thought showed water, dust, stones, and minerals traveling through the dark after worlds broke, collided, or changed. Nothing simply vanished. Forms ended, but substances continued their journey. The child looked at the stars with a new feeling. His body was not only his, it was a meeting place of the universe. Then the river of substances grew larger and became a river of planets, each planet moving like a single substance within a galaxy. And as the vision expanded even more, the river grew greater still, until galaxies themselves flowed like substances, moving together within the vast body of the universe. "This is beautiful," the child said. He looked at the great river of planets and galaxies flowing before him. "So the universe is a continuously changing flow of substances," he said slowly. "A human body is one kind of form made of substances. Larger bodies, like animals and trees, are also forms of substances. Mountains and earth are even larger forms. Planets are greater shapes made of substances, but even they are tiny when they move together inside a galaxy. And galaxies themselves move together as part of the universe." He became quiet for a moment, trying to understand. "So the whole universe is a moving, changing, flowing process of substances," he said. "Now I understand what a dream is, and I am beginning to understand what the body is. But now I want to know about psychology and sensations." Thought smiled. "If you remember," Thought said, "you still have 2 books left to read. Read them first and let us meet again tomorrow night. Then we can discuss them together." The child nodded. "Okay," he said, but then he paused. "Wait a minute. If all creatures, planets, and humans are made from this continuously changing flow of substances, then what about gods and aliens?" Thought looked at him carefully. "If any creature has a body," Thought said, "then that body must also be a form made of substances. The difference is in how many substances are gathered, how they are arranged, and how well they work together." He lifted his hand, and many forms appeared before them: insects, animals, humans, strange beings, planets, and glowing unknown creatures. If a body is formed from fewer substances, and if those substances are connected in a simple or poorly ordered way, then the body and brain will also be limited. Its intelligence will be limited by its structure. The child watched an insect appear in the air. For example, Thought continued, "An insect has a small body. It is made from fewer substances than a larger animal, so its structure is limited. But size alone is not enough. Some animals have larger bodies than humans, yet their brains may not be organized in a way that creates higher intelligence. So more substance does not always mean more intelligence?" the child asked. "Exactly," Thought said. "More substances alone do not create greater intelligence. What matters is both the amount of substance and the order of its structure. When many substances are connected in a complex, balanced, and well-ordered way, a higher kind of intelligence can appear, like in the human body. But here is the question," Thought said. "If forms or bodies can vary from smaller to larger, and if they can be made from different amounts and types of substances, arranged in different levels of complexity, then those differences can create many kinds of living beings, from bacteria to insects to animals to humans. He paused and looked at the child carefully. So why should greater intelligence and greater body structure stop at the human level? The child listened silently. Why could there not be a body more advanced than the human body? Why could there not be a structure more complex, more balanced, and more powerful than ours? And if such a body existed, why could it not produce a higher intelligence than human intelligence?